Hi, we are going to look at Luke chapter 1 today. We're looking at verse 5 through verse 25. We looked at the first part of chapter 1 last week. My brother Todd's with me, and you'll hear in the background my family every once in a while, probably. But we're going to just go through the word and see what the Lord gives us today. So I think I'm going to start it at the beginning, Todd, and just read through that first four verses just to get us back to where we are. It says, "Inasmuch as many have taken in hand to set in order a narrative of those things which have been fulfilled among us." And we looked at last week how Luke specifically says that he's taken in hand to set in order a narrative of those things which have been fulfilled among us. So, as you're reading through the Gospels, I mean the disciples, Luke, they had purpose behind what the Holy Spirit was giving them, and which was the fulfillment of prophecy in the Old Testament, so that we would know that Jesus is the Messiah. And so we hear to set in order a narrative of these things which have been fulfilled among us. I mean, what they saw at that time, they saw Jesus, they saw his miracles, they saw or heard or understood that he was born of a woman who was a virgin. He lived this life here on the earth, preaching to the poor and healing those who were sick. And then he went to a cross, was executed for our sin, and then he was laid in a grave for 3 days, and then he arose from the dead. And Luke is showing how those things were fulfilled. They were given to people years before in the Old Testament, like Isaiah, Zechariah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah. The stories, not stories like fairy tales, but actually historic stories, like Abraham and Moses, and how those things were shadows of the Messiah, of when Jesus would come. And so when he's put this into context, he's showing that those prophecies, those things that were given to the people of Israel throughout those 2,000 years, that they were fulfilled. They saw it face to face. They were there. They were eyewitnesses. They saw Jesus. I mean, they saw him physically. And so he's taken in hand to set in order a narrative of those things which have been fulfilled. That's what it says in the very first verse. And so we looked at that, and then the first fulfillment that he brings up, we looked at this last week, is that at the end of Malachi, there's a word given to Malachi that says that there was that Elijah, the spirit and power of Elijah would come to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children. And he shows in this very first chapter of Luke that at the very last chapter of the Old Testament, that this is fulfilled in John the Baptist. And so he takes the moment that the Old Testament, the last words given to the people of Israel in Malachi, and he starts right from that point. And he starts this narrative of those things being fulfilled. And he starts with John the Baptist. And that's where the Old Testament left off of. I mean, the last chapter in the Old Testament is about John the Baptist. And the first chapter in this gospel of the New Testament is about John the Baptist, which ultimately is about Jesus being the Messiah, because John the Baptist was a forerunner to Jesus to show that he was the Messiah. He would anoint him in the sense of baptism, showing that he was the Messiah. So if you go down to verse 5, this is where he talks about this fulfillment of John the Baptist. It says, "There was in the days of Herod the king of Judea a certain priest named Zachariah, of the division of Abijah. His wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. They were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. But they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and they were both well advanced in years." So, an older couple, they hadn't had any kids. I'm sure that was, at least from what I've heard at that time, I've heard that it was said that it was, people look down on you culturally. You know, there's something wrong with you. You know, you don't have any kids. God must be mad at you. Something's wrong. You know, you've done something wrong. You're just, something's up with you. You don't have any kids. And you kind of got a stigma about you. But in their lives, just the two of them, they devoted themselves to their family tradition. Their family, they were the family of Aaron, the priest, back when Moses was here, and that part of the Israel family were the priests. They did the functions in the temple. That was their privilege in the different peoples of Israel. And so they held to that. The temple was there, of course, under the umbrella of Rome. The temple was there in Israel, and they were of that family. So they did what they were supposed to do, and it says they kept the commandments. They were looked at as being blameless, righteous. So they didn't have anything standing out against them. You know, they seemed like good people. You know. And so in verse 8 it says, "And so it was that while he was serving," and this would be Zechariah, so it was that while he was serving as priest before God in order of his division in his family, according to the custom of the priesthood, his lot fell to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord." Okay, so lots, at least from my understanding, and this is all, you know, this isn't like a biblical, they didn't line this out in the Bible, not that I'm aware of, how to cast lots. This is just something that they developed and that they were using at that time. And what I understand is they had some rocks, and they put it in like a cement mixer, and they'd spin this thing up, and the first rock that fell out, if it was your rock, then God chose you. That was how they discerned the will of God at that time. And so, here it says that the part of his family came to do the temple worship, and they did the lot thing, and boom, the lot fell to Zechariah. So, Zechariah was the one they saw is chosen by the Lord through this Lot thing to burn incense in the temple. So it's the one thing I thought about this was that he is going into the temple because a rock fell out of like a cement mixer that had his name on it. That's how he's going in here. He didn't force his way into the temple. He didn't say, it's my turn, I'm going in. He wasn't rushing. He was just submissive to how they were looking at how to find out what the will of God was. And that's how he went into the temple. It was not his own works. He didn't do anything to do it. All he did was be a part of this ceremony of this rolling the rocks. And it happened to fall on him. I had some things written here, some of my thoughts. It says, or I put down here, we now hear, oh, I know. Okay, sorry. For us, it's a little different for us. First of all, I mean, I'm of other nations. I'm not a Jew in my background that I know of. I'm not a person from Israel. But so we don't have that tradition of going to the temple, and we have certain functions for different parts of different families. Like I'm a Frost, so I mean I don't have anything in my background that says, okay, well your family are priests, so you're gonna go and you're gonna be a priest. You're gonna either be a preacher, you're gonna be a cleaner of the temple, you're gonna be you're gonna light incense, whatever. I don't have anything like that in my background. Most of us don't. Even the people in Israel, I mean, it's a struggle for them now, but they do have their family lines and they keep track of that. But so for us, we come to Jesus. And when we